This command is not ordinary. It is a divine decree that bends reality in your favor. When spoken with faith and authority, it feels as if the system of life itself must obey, as though unseen hands rush to deliver your request. Money, opportunities, and blessings appear so swiftly it almost feels like cheating. Yet it is not. It is alignment with the law of supply. Words carry the vibration of creation, and when you release this command, the universe reorganizes instantly. You need not struggle, you need only speak, and the doors of abundance swing wide open before you. The spoken word is not a casual thing, it is the very breath of creation, the vibration that sets worlds into motion and calls invisible forces into form. Every sound uttered with conviction carries a frequency, and that frequency goes forth, seeking a place to manifest. When you speak, you do not simply release air from your lungs, you release power, a decree, a command that heaven and earth recognize. The universe is wired to respond to language, because language is energy clothed in sound. What you say shapes what you see. And this law does not waver, it does not sleep, it does not wait for permission. The word spoken with authority is a seed dropped into the fertile soil of the unseen, and that soil must bring forth after its kind. Consider for a moment how easily we speak idle words, unaware of their magnetic pull. A complaint, a fearful declaration, a phrase of lack. Each of these sets in motion the same creative power that could have been directed toward wealth, health, and success. The system does not discern between blessing and curse, it only obeys. When you speak of shortage, shortage grows. When you affirm abundance, abundance expands. To speak is to command, whether you realize it or not. Most people command against themselves, cursing their own affairs with words of doubt, frustration, and despair, and then wonder why life appears heavy. The spoken word is the invisible architect designing your experience, and the blueprints you hand over are written in syllables. The greatest secret lies in speaking consciously, deliberately, and faithfully. Words wrapped in faith are not fragile. They are absolute orders issued to the invisible army that governs manifestation. The moment you say, "I prosper," you set prosperity into motion. When you say, "Money flows to me quickly," the currents of unseen supply adjust their course to obey that vibration. This is why the spoken word feels like a command that reality cannot resist. It does not argue with your declaration, it simply aligns. That is why ancient texts and sacred wisdom place such emphasis on speech, decrees, affirmations, and proclamations. They understood that the mouth is the channel through which divine power is released into material life. The spoken word has an immediacy about it, a force that thought alone does not always carry. Thought is a whisper, speech is a trumpet. A thought may remain quiet, wavering, shifting, but once spoken, it takes form, clothed in sound waves, sent out to stir the ethers into action. The sound carries vibration, and vibration shapes matter. You can feel this truth in your own body. Angry words stir tension, loving words soothe, commanding words move. If words can shift the chemistry of the human body in seconds, how much more can they shift the circumstances of your finances, your relationships, your opportunities? The spoken word is creation in motion, and it is always faster than silent wishing. Imagine a general on the battlefield who holds authority over his troops. He may think of moving them, but until he speaks, nothing stirs. The moment the command is given, soldiers rush, weapons rise, and action explodes. So it is with the spoken word. Your words are orders to the invisible forces of life, and they move instantly. To remain silent when you could command is to let your army stand idle while opportunities pass by. Each word spoken in faith is a trumpet blast, sending forth angels, energy, and circumstance to obey your command. This is why speaking in the present tense is so vital. When you say, "I will be wealthy," the power is delayed, waiting for tomorrow, always postponed. But when you say, "I am wealthy," it becomes a decree that commands the now, bending reality to make space for wealth in this moment. The word, "I am," carries divine authority, for it is the name of creation itself. Every statement that follows "I am" is law for your life. Say, "I am tired," and your body obeys. Say, "I am energized," and you will feel a surge of strength. Say, "I am poor," and doors close. But say, "I am prosperous," and invisible doors begin to swing wide. The spoken word carries power even when not seen instantly. Just as a seed planted in soil does not sprout the moment it touches earth, so too do your words take root in the unseen. But the sprouting is certain. The law of speech is unfailing, whether you declare it with joy or with dread. The harvest is determined by the seed, and the seed is your declaration. If you persist, watering your words with faith and gratitude, you cannot be denied. It is not a matter of if, only when. And the when is often faster than expected. For the spoken word has the strange ability to accelerate manifestation, making things appear as though out of thin air. This is why it feels like cheating the system when you master the spoken command. Others may labor for years, pushing through struggle and effort, while you release a word, and doors open within days. It is not that you are bypassing laws, it is that you are aligning with the highest law, the law of word made flesh. You are choosing to stand as co-creator, speaking as one with authority, and the universe recognizes authority. It recognizes conviction, clarity, and faith. Hesitant words lack weight, but words spoken with absolute assurance are irresistible. Your life today is the echo of the words you have spoken yesterday, last month, last year. Every circumstance is a reflection of past decrees, and this means that nothing is fixed, nothing is permanent, nothing is beyond change. A new word can build a new world. You need not analyze how it will happen. The how belongs to the system that always obeys. Your role is simply to speak, to command, to release words of abundance, health, success, and joy into the air, knowing that they cannot return void. Every word returns with fruit. If you have spoken fruitless words in the past, replace them now with fertile ones, for life will respond in kind. When you understand this law, silence becomes sacred, for you will no longer waste your breath on idle chatter or self-cursing phrases. Instead, you will choose your words as a sculptor chooses his tools, carefully, intentionally, knowing that each strike shapes destiny. You will speak only what you desire to see, only what you choose to live, only what aligns with the wealth and power that is already yours. And as you continue, you will notice the acceleration of results, the quickening of manifestations, the ease with which money, opportunities, and blessings appear, not because you fought for them, but because you spoke them into being. Money and supply flow where faith-filled words are released, because words are not merely sound, but energy clothed in authority. Faith gives them weight, direction, and power to move unseen channels into action. Without faith, words are empty shells, drifting in the air and dissolving with no effect. But when faith ignites a word, it becomes a decree, and that decree summons provision from every direction. The universe is designed to respond to belief, and belief expressed through the spoken word is irresistible. Faith is the spark that animates the vibration of speech, and once alive, it travels like a current, gathering substance and momentum until it becomes visible supply. Consider how money is often thought of as paper, coins, or numbers on a screen, yet beneath its surface it is energy, fluid, dynamic, and responsive. Energy responds to vibration, and vibration is carried most directly by words. When you speak with faith, you are setting the vibration of money in motion, calling it toward you as surely as a magnet draws iron. It is not forced, it is not coerced, it is attracted. Money is never stagnant, it is always in circulation, moving from hand to hand, account to account, flow to flow. Faith-filled words create a channel, a pathway, a gravitational pull that directs the circulation of money to you. Faith-filled words differ from ordinary speech, because they carry certainty. A statement of doubt has no pull, no power, for it wavers. But a statement of faith rings like a bell in the unseen, and that ringing sets supply into motion. When you say, "Money flows to me now," with faith you do not plead, you do not hope, you declare. That declaration carries assurance, and assurance is the signal that the system recognizes. It is not begging that brings supply. It is commanding with belief. Life does not respond to weakness, it responds to authority. And faith is authority, for it knows the outcome before it appears. Money does not need to be chased. Chasing money makes it flee. For chase is rooted in fear of not having. But when you speak with faith, you shift from chasing to commanding. Your words become like a beacon, a lighthouse, and money follows the light. Opportunities, ideas, clients, open doors, gifts, and unexpected checks begin to line themselves up, because the vibration of your word is drawing them. The system that governs supply is intelligent, but it is obedient to faith. It does not resist, it does not hesitate. It flows where the current of belief directs it. You have seen this law at work in small ways. Someone speaks confidently of success, and success seems to meet them everywhere. Another constantly speaks of lack, and lack multiplies in their affairs. It is not coincidence, it is law. Money follows faith-filled words because those words are creative blueprints. They tell supply where to go, how to appear, in what form to manifest. Without a blueprint, energy has no direction. But with a spoken blueprint charged with faith, energy rushes to construct exactly what was declared. Faith-filled words not only attract money but also clear the obstacles that prevent it from reaching you. Fear, doubt, and negative speech create dams in the river of supply, blocking the flow. But faith is a force that breaks those dams. When you speak, "I live in abundance," even when appearances contradict it, you are blasting holes in the wall of limitation, and the flow begins to move again. This is why many find that supply comes after they shift their language, even before circumstances seem possible. The language of faith overrides appearances, and appearances are compelled to catch up. Faith does not ask, how? Faith speaks as though it already is. The supply is already present in the unseen, waiting to be called into form, and words are the call. Just as a shepherd calls his flock, and the flock responds to the sound of his voice, money responds to the sound of your faith-filled decree. It may arrive through work, through gifts, through sudden opportunities, through channels you never imagined, but arrive it must, for the voice of faith cannot be ignored. To speak with faith is to align with divine law, the law that abundance is natural, continuous, and limitless. Scarcity is not the truth of the universe. It is the illusion created by fear and sustained by words of lack. When you replace those words with faith-filled declarations, you dissolve the illusion. And money begins to move toward you naturally, for it was always meant to circulate in your life with ease. The spoken word infused with faith unlocks this circulation, commanding it to appear in visible, tangible form. Faith-filled words not only command money but also transform your inner state. As you declare, "Money flows to me freely and abundantly," your consciousness shifts into expectancy. Expectancy is magnetic. It opens your eyes to opportunities, makes you notice connections, and gives you boldness to act when doors open. Without faith-filled words, the mind drifts in worry, seeing only lack, closing itself to supply. With them, the mind becomes a magnet tuned to abundance, expecting increase at every turn. This inner transformation is as vital as the outer flow, for it aligns you with the stream of prosperity. The beauty of faith-filled words is that they work regardless of current circumstances. You do not need visible money to call money, you need faith. You do not need proof before you speak, your speech is the proof. When you declare abundance in the face of emptiness, you are exercising the highest authority. That authority rearranges conditions, shifts situations, and creates channels where none seem to exist. Faith does not wait for evidence, faith creates evidence. And it does so through the spoken word, spoken firmly, consistently, and without wavering. Money and supply are loyal servants, and faith-filled words are the command they obey. They do not resist, they do not delay, they respond. If your words are casual, uncertain, or mixed with fear, the response is weak. If your words are charged with faith, conviction, and gratitude, the response is swift. The difference is not in the world but in the vibration of the words you release. Speak with faith, and you align yourself with the unstoppable current of abundance that flows through all things, waiting for the voice of authority to direct it. Divine law overrides struggle, making manifestation effortless because struggle belongs to the realm of fear and separation, while divine law belongs to truth, order, and alignment. Struggle is born when a person believes they must force life to bend, when they believe they must compete, push, and fight for every fragment of supply. But divine law knows no competition, no resistance, no shortage. It is the invisible order that governs the universe, ensuring balance, provision, and flow. When you step into alignment with divine law through word, thought, and faith, the very energy of life begins to carry you, and what once felt heavy now feels light. What once seemed delayed now arrives with ease. Consider the way nature functions. A tree does not struggle to bear fruit, the river does not wrestle to flow to the sea. The sun does not strive to shine, and yet all are fulfilling their purpose with perfection. Divine law is at work in them, and it never falters. Struggle enters only when humans resist that law, trying to control outcomes with fear or force. The one who surrenders to divine law, who speaks in harmony with it, finds that things unfold in perfect timing and order. What others sweat for, strain for, labor over, comes as natural as breath. It is not laziness, it is alignment. When you know that divine law overrides struggle, you no longer fear that effort alone determines your success. Effort has its place, but effort without alignment multiplies frustration. Divine law is the higher current, and when you align with it through faith and command, your effort becomes magnified. What would have taken years through struggle can appear in moments through law. This is why some appear to prosper with little strain, while others grind endlessly and see little return. It is not luck, it is law. The spoken word, charged with faith, connects you to that law, making manifestation appear effortless. Struggle often comes from believing supply is limited, that there is not enough, that one must take from another to gain. But divine law reveals that supply is infinite, flowing, and abundant. The very air you breathe proves this truth. No one fears there will not be enough oxygen tomorrow. In the same way, there is no shortage of money, opportunities, or blessings, only a shortage of faith in the law that governs them. When you speak abundance, when you declare prosperity, you align with the infinite nature of supply, and what felt scarce begins to multiply. The law overrides the illusion of struggle, clearing the path for manifestation to appear without force. It is important to recognize that struggle is often self-imposed through words of doubt, fear, and limitation. Every time someone says, "It's hard to make money," "I can't get ahead," or "Things never work out for me," they are invoking a false law and life obeys. Divine law is still active, but their alignment is with struggle instead of flow. When the words shift to faith-filled decrees, money comes easily to me. Everything works out for my good. Opportunities chase me down. The alignment changes, and divine law overrides the old struggle. The results may appear sudden, as if a burden was lifted overnight, but it is simply the natural flow reasserting itself once resistance is removed. The key is to remember that divine law does not require force. It requires agreement. Agreement through words, through faith, through belief. Once agreement is made, the law acts swiftly, for it is already present, already active, already governing. You are not creating the law, you are aligning with it. The law of gravity existed long before anyone acknowledged it. So does the law of supply, the law of abundance, the law of effortless manifestation. Recognition brings cooperation, and cooperation removes struggle. Divine law overrides struggle because struggle is based in personal effort alone, while law is based in universal order. A person who rows against the current may exhaust themselves, but one who turns their boat with the current moves with ease. The current is stronger than their arms. The law is stronger than their will. Align with the law, and your will is carried by the current instead of crushed by it. Words of faith are the oars that steer you into that current. Every declaration of prosperity, every command of abundance, every affirmation of success is a turn of the oar, positioning you with the flow instead of against it. When manifestation appears effortless, it is not because nothing was done, but because the struggle was removed. Divine law is efficiency, perfection, directness. It does not waste energy, it does not delay unnecessarily, it does not toil. To live under divine law is to experience the shortest path between intention and fulfillment. Some call it synchronicity, coincidence, or luck, but it is law, divine law at work, bypassing the maze of struggle and bringing supply through channels you never expected. The job offer appears, the client calls. The debt is cancelled, the opportunity arrives, not through blood and sweat, but through alignment. Struggle teaches dependence on self alone, while divine law teaches co-creation with the infinite. You are not meant to carry the burden of creation on your back. You are meant to command with words of faith and trust the law to fulfill. This is why those who master the spoken word often appear to move through life with ease, as if doors open before they even knock. It is not unfair, it is not magic, It is the difference between rowing against the tide and riding the tide with the wind. Struggle is heavy, but law is light. Struggle drains, but law restores. Struggle delays, but law accelerates. When you feel the weight of struggle, it is a signal not to push harder, but to align deeper. Ask, what am I declaring? What words am I releasing? Am I affirming lack or abundance? Am I resisting flow with doubt, or am I aligning with faith? The answer always points to words, for words are the link between you and divine law. Change the words, and the struggle dissolves, replaced by effortless manifestation. The world may teach that nothing comes without struggle, that sweat and sacrifice are the only path to success, but divine law whispers a different truth, that manifestation is the natural outcome of alignment. Just as a seed planted in the right soil does not struggle to grow but springs forth in its season, so too do your desires manifest when aligned with divine law. It is not forced, it is not strained, it is inevitable. The law cannot fail, for it is the very structure of reality. Struggle is the illusion, law is the truth. And when you align with truth through faith-filled words, the illusion crumbles, and manifestation appears as if by miracle, though it is only the certainty of divine law fulfilling itself. Alignment with abundance removes delays and resistance, because resistance is born out of separation, doubt, and fear, while alignment is unity with the infinite source of supply. Abundance is not something to be created. It already exists in overflowing measure all around you. The only barrier that keeps it from appearing in your experience is misalignment in thought, word, and belief. The river of supply is always flowing, but resistance acts as a dam, blocking its course. The moment you align with abundance through faith, gratitude, and powerful speech, the dam crumbles, and what was always waiting rushes into your life. Delays are not punishments, they are reflections of inner conflict. When a person desires wealth but speaks words of lack, when they imagine prosperity yet affirm fear, they create a tug-of-war within themselves, and the manifestation is slowed. But alignment is a singular direction of energy, a unified vibration that leaves no room for contradiction. To say, I am abundant, with faith is to stand in perfect harmony with the truth of the universe, and in that harmony there is no delay. Supply does not hesitate, it responds immediately, flowing without obstruction into the channels of your life. Resistance comes in many subtle forms. It appears in worry about how things will happen, in doubt about worthiness, in constant rehearsals of failure, in envy of others. Each of these thoughts is a stone in the stream, slowing the current. But alignment dissolves these stones, because it anchors you in the certainty that abundance is natural, rightful, and present. The moment you choose words of alignment, money flows to me freely. I am worthy of wealth. Everything I desire is already mine. You release the grip of resistance, and life begins to arrange itself in your favor. Abundance is not a future promise, it is a present reality waiting to be recognized. Alignment is recognition. When you align, you no longer postpone prosperity by saying, one day I will have it, or, if only I could. Instead, you declare, I have it now. And by that declaration, the universe delivers the evidence. The law of manifestation does not wait for time, it responds to alignment. Time appears only when resistance is present. For resistance slows the current, creating the illusion of delay. The more you align, the faster manifestation appears, as though time itself bends to bring you what you command. Alignment with abundance shifts the atmosphere of your entire being. It changes the way you carry yourself, the way you speak, the way you expect. Expectancy is magnetic. When you are aligned, you walk with the energy of one who already has, and the world mirrors that back to you. Opportunities notice you, people are drawn to you, doors open to you. Resistance repels, but alignment attracts. The shift may feel subtle at first, like a change in wind direction, but soon you notice the current carrying you where you once struggled to go. Gratitude is one of the most powerful alignments with abundance, for gratitude recognizes supply as already present. To give thanks before the manifestation is to acknowledge it as complete, and in that acknowledgement, resistance dissolves. Gratitude says, it is done, and divine law responds by delivering the visible evidence. A grateful word spoken in faith is an alignment so strong that delays collapse. Gratitude is not only for what is seen, but for what is unseen, for by thanking in advance, you call it forth into view. Words are the steering wheel of alignment. Every phrase either places you in harmony with abundance or in discord with it. I can't afford it. Money is hard to come by. Things never work out. These are words of resistance, and they thicken the dam. But I prosper in all I do. Money comes easily to me. Everything works in my favor. These are words of alignment, and they dissolve the dam. Spoken consistently, they build a pathway so clear that supply rushes through without pause. It is not repetition alone, but repetition with faith that strengthens the alignment, for faith gives words their weight. Alignment also transforms your relationship with time. Those who resist abundance feel trapped in delay, always waiting for something to change. But those aligned with abundance understand that manifestation can happen suddenly, instantly, without warning. A single word spoken in alignment can open a floodgate that years of struggle could not move. This is why some experience what feels like overnight success, sudden windfalls, or miraculous opportunities. It is not accident, it is alignment. When resistance is gone, nothing stands between the decree and its fulfillment. The energy of abundance is expansive, flowing, generous, and free. Resistance feels tight, constricted, fearful, and small. To align with abundance is to expand, to breathe deeply, to act with boldness, to expect the best, to give freely, knowing more will come. When you embody this state, you are living as a match to the flow of supply, and by universal law, like attracts like. The abundant current cannot flow into a vessel sealed with fear, but once that vessel opens with faith, the flow is unstoppable. Delays often teach the lesson of alignment. They reveal where resistance hides. If you declare prosperity but secretly fear failure, the delay exposes the misalignment, not as punishment but as correction. The moment you release the fear, the moment you speak differently, the moment you believe fully, the delay dissolves. Alignment is not about forcing the timing but about trusting the flow. Trust accelerates, doubt delays. Each time you replace doubt with a faith-filled word, you shorten the distance between desire and manifestation. Alignment with abundance also requires neutrality toward appearances. Appearances may suggest lack, but alignment says, this is temporary, the truth is abundance. Appearances may show emptiness, but alignment speaks fullness. By refusing to be swayed by appearances, you refuse resistance a foothold. You stand firm in the unseen truth, and soon the seen world must reflect it. Resistance clings to appearances, but alignment clings to truth. And truth is abundance without limit. As you practice alignment daily, through declarations, gratitude, and expectancy, you will find the delays that once haunted you vanish. What took months may take days. What took years may take hours, for the current of abundance has no resistance left to fight. You may even feel as though life is cheating in your favor, bending rules, skipping steps, arranging coincidences, but it is not cheating, it is law. The law of alignment is precise, and when resistance is gone, results must come swiftly, naturally, effortlessly. Speaking with authority opens doors that no force can shut, because authority is the vibration of certainty, and certainty is irresistible to the universe. When you speak without hesitation, without doubt, with the unwavering tone of one who knows their words carry power, the unseen responds instantly. Authority is not volume or aggression, it is conviction. The quiet thunder that comes from faith. A whisper spoken with authority can shake reality more than a shout spoken in fear. The moment your words are filled with authority, they stop being requests and become commands, and commands are obeyed. Authority is alignment with the truth, that you are not separate from the infinite source, but one with it. When you speak with authority, you speak as a co-creator, as one who understands their inheritance of abundance, not as a beggar pleading for scraps. Begging keeps doors closed, but commanding opens them. Life does not withhold supply, it waits for recognition. Authority is recognition. Recognition that you have the right to prosperity, that wealth belongs to you by divine law. That opportunity is not a privilege for a few, but a current available to all who claim it. By speaking in this recognition, you unlock doors that appeared sealed. Doors represent opportunities, breakthroughs, access, and flow. Many try to push these doors open with struggle, with endless labor, with worry, but they find them immovable. Yet when authority is spoken, the doors swing wide without resistance, for words of authority do not knock. They declare entry. Authority does not ask permission from limitation, it asserts truth over limitation. A locked door is powerless against the decree of authority, because the decree shifts reality itself, changing conditions so that the door must open. The reason authority is so effective is that it bypasses the energy of doubt. Doubt hesitates, and hesitation delays manifestation. Authority eliminates hesitation. To speak with authority is to stand in the vibration of completion, declaring as though the manifestation is already done. That declaration leaves no room for resistance, and so the path clears instantly. The very molecules of matter align themselves under the command of authority. Authority is the voice of law, and law cannot be resisted. Authority is not arrogance, for arrogance is rooted in ego and insecurity. True authority is rooted in alignment with divine law. It is the recognition that you are speaking not from limited self but from infinite truth. When you say, "I prosper," you are not boasting. You are affirming a universal law. When you declare, "Money comes to me now," you are not forcing. You are aligning with the current of supply that already flows. Authority speaks from this alignment, and because the law is already true, the spoken word enforces it into manifestation. Speaking with authority also silences the noise of contradiction. Without authority, words may be doubted, cancelled, or weakened by opposing thoughts. With authority, the decree overrides all opposition. Just as a judge's ruling silences the courtroom, a word of authority silences the chatter of fear and the objections of lack. The decree becomes final, and reality must obey. This is why the tone, the inner certainty, the unshakable conviction matter more than the number of repetitions. One word of authority carries more weight than 1,000 words of doubt. Doors that no force can shut symbolize opportunities that remain yours once claimed in authority. Others may try to compete, circumstances may shift, conditions may appear unstable, but once spoken in authority, the manifestation is sealed. It is yours by decree, and nothing external can revoke it. Authority does not only open doors, it keeps them open. It holds the vibration that sustains the manifestation, protecting it from collapse. This is why those who speak with authority find that what they gain lasts, while those who strive without authority often lose what they worked for. Speaking with authority transforms the very atmosphere around you. People sense it, situations respond to it, and unseen forces move under it. Authority carries presence, and presence attracts. When you speak over your finances, over your opportunities, over your path with authority, you begin to notice how quickly things rearrange themselves to match your words. What seemed immovable suddenly shifts. What seemed distant suddenly approaches. What seemed impossible suddenly becomes simple. Authority creates an ease that effort alone cannot. Authority also multiplies speed. Where weak words bring slow trickles of supply, words of authority open floods. This is why some experience sudden surges of prosperity, unexpected breakthroughs, and rapid manifestations after years of waiting. It is not that the supply was absent, it was waiting for authority to call it forth. Authority is the master key, turning locks that effort could never move. And once turned, the door not only opens but stays open, because authority is a continuing vibration. To cultivate authority in your speech, you must first cultivate certainty in your heart. Certainty comes from knowing the law, from trusting the law, from refusing to waver in the face of appearances. When appearances show lack, authority says, "This changes now." When circumstances show delay, authority says, "My good is here already." When resistance whispers doubt, authority speaks louder, not in volume but in conviction, declaring the higher truth until reality conforms. The more you practice authority, the more natural it becomes, until speaking with authority is your default state. Authority is also reinforced by consistency. Every time you choose to speak with certainty instead of fear, you strengthen your vibration. Every time you declare instead of complain, you align deeper with law. Over time, the words of authority become your identity, and identity is unshakable. Once authority becomes who you are, every word you speak carries weight, whether about money, health, relationships, or opportunities. The universe does not question, it responds. Doors open to authority because authority speaks the language of law. Law does not recognize pleading, hoping, or worrying, it recognizes decree. Just as a command spoken by a ruler carries instant execution, a command spoken with spiritual authority carries instant alignment. This is why words spoken in fear feel weak, but words spoken in authority carry a finality that cannot be denied. Authority leaves no gap for resistance, no space for contradiction, no time for delay. It speaks, and it is done. When you realize the power of speaking with authority, you stop wasting words on doubt. You stop scattering your energy with contradictions. You begin to use your voice as the key it was meant to be, unlocking doors, commanding supply, shifting conditions. Speaking with authority is not about force. It is about certainty. It is about knowing that your words are law because they align with divine law. And once spoken in that alignment, the door must open. And once open, no force can shut it.